Excuse me, ma'am. No porn at the bar.
Oh, it's okay. I'm transgender.
Oh, I had no idea. Do whatever you want all the time.
Fade in.
Welcome, everybody, to Midnight's Edge After Dark. It's that time of the night.
Ooh.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know some people were like, where's the show? Where's the show? Well, I took a nap this afternoon. I know that's a rare thing that happens. I hibernated for a few hours. It does happen to the northern Wisconsin bear from time to time. Wait a minute, that sounded gay. Anyway, Six, help me out of this. Six is not here. Welcome, Six. Thank you for being here. Clobby, help me out of this.
Okay, you are the most manly man I've ever met.
Oh, thank God.
Tom is Bat Tom, and even better, he's Super Bat.
Oh, yeah.
Tom. He's the
You're
Super
not
Bat
putting
Tom
that
of
down.
Planet X. Sorry.
Planet X.
Yeah, it's a compliment. Trust me.
I'd rather come from Planet Triple X.
Oh well, we will find it.
A whole planet to get to first base? No, thanks. Yes, that voice, of course, was Clobbering Times. How you doing, Clobby?
Hey, buddy. Hello, my good friends on the paddle and in the chat. Time to do some Tom clobbering, or not clobber Tom in general. You understand? Let Tom do some clobbering. I just want to make that
Something like that.
totally clear.
We're getting gayer by the second. Hey, Six, how you doing? Get us out of this gay rut.
Yeah, speaking of gay, I was walking out of the bank today and I looked down at the sidewalk and I thought, you know, if more men were gay, there wouldn't be so much spit
Well, you're not allowed to spit if you're
along
gay
the
or something?
walkways.
Oops.
Are you sure about that?
Well, they would have figured out how to swallow it.
Oh, that's
Wow.
true.
Oh my.
Oh, Lord. She was going there. I knew it.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Oops.
That's all right.
Nobody
I'm sure your
reads the
mother's
private
proud
chat.
of that story. No, I did. I saw it. I said, you said BRB, start without me. Oh, don't start without. Shit, I'm sorry. I misread it. Anyway, we're live.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome, Six. And also joining us today, we have CC Karaoke. How you doing?
I'm good. I don't know what to say to all that. Spit, swallow. I heard you called someone an Uber.
Heard somebody call what?
I heard you called her an Uber. That's you weren't napping.
On Uber. I would never call a woman an Uber. They can pay for their own goddamn cab. Welcome, Script Doctor, as well, from Canada, just like CC. How's it going up there? How's the weather up there? We went from 20 degrees Fahrenheit this morning to 60 degrees this afternoon. It was kind of weird.
Oh, it's been 5 all day.
At least it's consistent.
Yeah.
Well, glad to have you here. And we also have with us Nick Weiser, who I'm going to be hanging out with on Thursday, it sounds like. How you doing, Nick?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a mandate and a meetup. I'm doing good, Tom. Happy to be here. What's up, chat? Wrenches. Good to hang out with you, Six, Clubby, CC, and Script. Tom, we're going to have pizza together.
A mandate and meetup? Probably gayer than anything I said. You better man up or meet up. What's that mean? You put your dick on the table, son. You measure it up. Anyway, we're just it is my fault we're late today. I took a nap, like I said, and yeah, I'm so way out of it. But good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good and good night, whatever it is where you're at. I see some regulars in the chat like Tripping Orc, Davina Duckworth, Sandra Hammerslags here. We got DJ Ronnie G, who's been here for 9 months. It's a baby. I'm pretty sure I'm not the father. But thank you for being here as a member DJ Ronnie G. Yeah, I got to bug Andre about when we're going to be doing a member stream. So yeah. But thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Hit that like button. We're going to get rolling here real soon. So, how about the Marvels?
Yeah.
Never heard.
The
Yeah.
Marvels.
The what?
The Marbles.
Marble.
The Marvels.
That's what my phone thinks I'm saying every time.
Does it really?
Yeah.
The marbles.
Well,
Marbles,
the
I gotta
numbers
go
are
and change
going
it.
down huge.
Oh, how bad did it do today?
I'll bet it hit like 4 million, maybe less.
Shit, you'd be lucky to have done that.
Let's
today.
find out. Let's
I
find
don't
out.
think
2
it'll
million.
have-
As of last night, it made 2 million last night.
No,
They won't have today's numbers tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh no, they
Down
do. They do. They have
74%.
Monday's number right now. Script
Oh,
was
do they?
right.
Yep.
2,372,375 bucks. Yesterday's gross for the single day, dude.
Oh, that's right.
2 million. Okay, I gotta look at the first movies first Monday, because let's be fair here. No, Monday is always a big drop from Sunday, usually unless there's like a holiday involved.
Nick,
let's look
excuses.
at- No, this could be regarded for any movie, no matter what. It's a
Bobby,
bad
God.
total. It's a bad total.
Well,
It's
given
a
the
bad
budget,
total,
yeah,
no
it's
matter
atrocious.
what. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
atrocious.
All that,
Whoa.
all that misogyny.
Yeah.
It's all our
men that
fault.
went to see it. I say
God
this
damn
movie
us.
is a victim of misandry, actually.
Who's she?
Who?
Miss Andre.
Misandry, yeah.
Yeah,
Women didn't show up. What
misandry.
the heck, ladies?
She didn't show up. Neither did anybody
Yeah.
else, for that matter.
Ladies hate
Um,
themselves.
6 was the only one there.
Six was the only woman
Yeah.
there, and she was obviously upset, and I understand why. You don't have your fucking curly fries. What the fuck is
Yeah.
that? I hear that's it's an epidemic now. Six.
I'm also
Did you
the
hear
only
about
one
this?
on the panel who saw the movie who paid for it, aren't I?
This is
No.
true.
I did.
No, oh, you did. That's right, Clobby did.
Oh, Clobby.
Oh,
Yeah.
mm.
Clobby
Well, I mean,
and
we
I.
paid for it with time.
And time. and ridiculous concessions. And you didn't even get your curly fries. That's what angers me the
I
most.
got
Yeah,
a
but
bottle of
Oh
water for
no,
$5.
you didn't get curly fries? That's
Nope.
No, she didn't. And that's what I've been hearing is even
Oh.
Hardee's has run out of curly fries. It's a conspiracy.
That's an epidemic.
Oh,
Hardee's.
Somebody does not
that's
want to make curly
bad.
fries right now, and we need to get to the bottom of this. It's a
Wow.
curly twisting kind of thing, but we'll get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
No, that's kind of bummer because I love curly fries too.
Yeah.
They better have them
Curly
back by
fries.
January when I got to go to my dentist appointment.
It's a 15-minute drive to go to that theater, and I go there just for the curly fries.
Wow.
Well, you say they make
that
any
sounds
movie
like it's
better.
worth it.
With cheese on them or whatever.
I just look forward. Like that's the only place I ever have curly fries ever.
They don't have Hardee's over there, or I suppose you don't eat there because they probably
Called you.
No, I just
cook them in the meat, same as the.
I don't.
Mm.
No, I don't eat
Yeah.
Hardee's.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I never really
But-
did. That, so.
But we knew it wouldn't take too long for this to happen. Speaking of the Marvels faces anti-woke backlash after box office flock, echoing Captain Marvel attacks. Of course. it
Hold
did.
up. Looking at this headline, I thought we were just a vocal minority. What
I know.
happened to that?
It's whatever's
what
convenient, Nick.
Doesn't even make sense because obviously the person who wrote this didn't watch the movie because it's barely qualifies for woke.
Yeah, it really
I
didn't have
actually
much of that
agree-
in it.
I actually agree with script on that. It really
No, it doesn't have
isn't.
much of that in there. No.
No, it's just a bad
No.
movie.
Yeah,
I'd
it's
argue
literally
like-
all the other problems in there.
No, there's
Yeah.
the problems that has, because yes, I seen it too. It has nothing to do with that. It really does not. There's a whole bunch of other problems. Whether it's even if you take out the continuity, a lot of the performances, the atrocious CGI, some of the worst scenes I've ever seen in any MCU movie ever. There's two examples I can think of. Like the musical was a big thing. Oh,
Yeah.
oh man, dude.
And Nick Fury's
then
a
the
joke
cat
the whole
scene.
time.
And Nick Fury
Does he have one line that isn't a joke in that stupid movie?
Not really.
Not Nick Fury anymore.
So
Grant, you could argue he's kind of a little bit like
well,
Samuel
nah,
Jackson the whole time,
Captain
but now
Marvel
it's
ruined him.
worse than ever.
The Captain Marvel movie ruined him though. And this just finished the job. It backed up and hit him again after Suckered Invasion.
Well, that's all this movie reminded me of is how bad Captain Marvel was.
Yeah.
right? I mean, this movie is not as bad as the first movie. I will give it that.
It
has
No.
it has a story to it. Is it a good story? No.
It's better than Eternals.
I have the
It's
Marvel
way better
movies
than
ranked.
Eternals.
I have the
It's a
Marvel movies
bad
ranked.
story.
I have it as the 7th worst, and I still give it a 0.
I mean, I would say that's kind of fair because listen, I completely understood why the villain was doing what they were
Yeah.
doing.
Oh yeah,
but it was
They're
just bored
justified,
because-
actually.
Oh yeah, it's
dude,
actually it's very
arguably
justified.
more a hero than Carol is.
Well, I mean, she
Carol
could have
is
been more of a
technically the
hero.
villain of the movie, if you think about it. That's
She
what my
could have
point
been
was.
more
Yeah.
of a, yeah, like well, here's the thing, right? So the villain had a noble cause of restoring the planet. The means by way she wanted to do that was what makes her evil. But Carol wasn't very good in her right either. However, compared to Captain Marvel and what we saw in Infinity War and a couple of the and post-credit or mid-credit scenes of Carol Danvers, her portrayal in this film is far more digestible than any of the others we've seen. You could
Yes.
tolerate to actually see Brie Larson more easily in this version than any of the other moments that she appeared in.
That might be debatable, but I think like at this point, at least what I give them credit for is, even though it's the dumbest thing in the whole movie, she at least knows she did wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the whole excuse she gives for not coming back to Monica, was that she was embarrassed. It's like, okay, well, that's a stupid fucking reason, but guess what? I could, at least you're showing some fucking humanity for the first time in this character ever. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
just like,
listen, it's just like, where was this in the first movie? I mean,
she didn't do shit about it for 30 years, but hey, you know, like,
and that's a fault because if anything, it would be like she destroys the Supreme Intelligence and it causes a ripple throughout the rest of the galaxy that she's now been trying to fix for the last 30 years and has been barely pulling it off, maybe even failing in some regards. And now all of a sudden,
Boom.
the woman comes in, she's like, yeah, you screwed us over, but if I fix my planet, that'll have a ripple effect back. The Kree will be in power. And then she'd be like, well, the Kree can't be in power. And then that's where you have your conflict, right? But no, they don't do
Right.
that because they didn't have anyone thinking about those aspects of it. And instead, they made it very, and I don't mean this in any sort of sexist way, but like adolescent girly. Like that's what it was. I wanted these to be 3 women working together and doing stuff, but they were 3 girls in high school trying to solve a problem, and modern day girls in high school, not, girls becoming women in high school, circa the 90s, 80s,
Right,
70s and prior.
I mean, the storyline was there. It feels like they avoided it on purpose script. I'm like looking at this movie going, well, it's clear you have Monica Rambeau, who lost her trust in Carol because she never came back. Then you have hero worship on the other end. The triangle's pretty simple. I mean, we talked about this the other day. It's like, why didn't they utilize that? The whole thing should have been built on this idea that Carol isn't the hero and leader that she pretty much kind of portrays herself as underneath, right? Giving her more human elements.
Tom, you have something good going there because that reminds me of the scene where Miss Marvel is actually being a hero and trying to do her best to be a hero. And Carol kind of just like, hey, no, we got to go. We can only save so many. Whereas Kamal's just like, hey, but we got to save everyone. And they could have went somewhere with that, especially like.
Well, I like the little thing they have there. That was one of the few things
set up
where they go, we save as
to
many as we can. That's what she says. We save as many as we can. It wasn't.
They could have
it
gone
wasn't
somewhere with that. They could have gone somewhere with that.
My problem with that was we just saw that in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That was my problem with that.
Well, I didn't see Guardians, which doesn't help. But either way, regardless, it's something that's been done before. But is it an angle that can pay off? Well, sure, because a good trope at the end of the day is a good trope, and they could have done some with that, and it just didn't amount to anything. And that was something, especially with how much we all like to toss at the Carol Danvers character, that she's pretty much a villain. That kind of like, made that angle more warranted and justified.
Well, not only that, they
really
missed
spent on that.
They missed the opportunity, as cliche as it may have been, for Miss Marvel's bubble to be bursted a little bit on the whole hero worship.
Yeah.
Right, like that was the part they definitely missed, and that would have humanized Carol even more through the audience's eyes, because that was technically the only likable character from what most consistent people have said. Some people like Monica Rambeau, okay, but for the most part, I've heard everybody say, well, yeah, Miss Marvel was fine. Just some people just don't know who she is.
She's the best character
kind of
in the
sidelines for
movie.
most of the movie.
Yeah, she's the best character in my opinion in the movie. There are some times where it's a little much. Her fangirlishness. It's not the worst, but it is a bit much at times. However, I'm gonna give the runner up to best characters her parents. I actually liked her parents.
Oh yeah, the parents are fine. But the thing is, they were
Yeah.
pulled into the story. Well, the rest of the story because reasons. Like, I don't know why they need to leave
It
the
felt
house.
like we fell into that the movie that just came out this last summer, Blue Beetle. That's what
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching. I was like, wait a
Oh,
minute, when
really?
did I start watching Blue Beetle? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Except the parents actually felt more in line with their roles than the ones in Blue Beetle. Like, that's the thing. Like,
Comics.
it was a very tight. The movie all takes
I
place
agree.
over the course of a day, where Blue Beetle takes place over the course of weeks. And so
I agree. Like in that
Yeah.
sense, the parents are a little bit more believable. And Blue Beetle is like they felt forced into the story.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
terrible in Blue Beetle. And
My
this-
only problem with it was, like I said to you, script is like I missed, unless the version I saw didn't have it or what, any kind of sort of like back flashbacks to who Miss Marvel is. All we got
no,
was
they
for
don't have-
Captain Marvel and the stuff with Monica Rambeau's mom. I forgot her name.
Maria. Well, the
Maria,
things that you
yeah.
get of Miss Marvel is you get definition of who her character is with the animation opening, and then
Kind of.
we learn about how she got her stuff through, unfortunately, lines of exposition around like a half hour to 40 minutes into the movie, where they talk about the quantum bands, which it took me 2 days to find a bootleg copy, so I could just make that montage in my video, because I knew it was in there, but like I have no idea where I can find it to verify.
Yeah, I mean, it does give you a little bit, but to me, it was like, no, I need more. Because like I even said it, and I don't remember if you were on the show or which one I said it on, but like I even said like I didn't even realize that other guy was her brother, right? The way the family dynamic is kind of set up, I thought that was her dad, and he was like a single dad, but they don't really give you that. And that's my fault for not watching the Marvels, I guess, to a half point. But at the same time, it's half their fault for not telling me this information.
They didn't do that well established, because
No.
He's supposed to be married. And the thing is, they cast an actor who looks 30 years older than
Yes.
Kamala.
Yes,
Like,
that's the other
yeah,
problem.
he
and,
does.
and I think it only has to do with the fact that he has a very bushy beard. I think if they clean shaved him, he would have looked more contemporary, and you would realize,
Well,
oh,
her
he's in the
parents are a
early
little
20
too
guys.
old too.
What's that?
Her parents are a little too old too for a kid that age. That's what threw me off, because they feel more like grandparents than parents. That was my
Oh, they look like,
I was
late
gonna say
40s to me.
like old parents to me.
maybe I'm just getting old. I don't fucking know.
I mean, not everyone has a kid in their early 20s, Tom.
maybe that's fair. But
Yeah.
like,
like again,
I don't know. I
Kamala is
didn't care for
definitely
the
a character
character.
who her parents were like 30 when they had their first kid, and then she was like, her mom was like 35 or 38 when she had her. Like that. I mean, I grew up in neighborhoods where that was kind of common, where a lot of parents
Fair
were
enough, but I just
late
didn't
20s,
find
early 30s when
her
they started having kids.
as interesting as everybody else did, or as likable as everybody else did. That was the
Fair.
Mhm.
That's fair.
And maybe it was because, I mean, the problem with this whole movie is it feels like it was written by an adolescent. I don't remember who said that, if it was Script or Klobby. One of y'all did.
Well, did you see what Nia DaCosta said? She came from a background in writing fan fiction. And
That I've
unfortunately not
heard.
good unfortunately not good fan fiction. That's the best that she's
Yeah.
got. Because I'm not going to discredit someone because they wrote fan fiction. I'm not one of those heads. But if it's good fan fiction, I'll be happy to acknowledge it. But if this is the best that she can give, well, then yeah, it's not good. Then I really don't care then at that point. So
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, given that her background in the fan fiction stuff and the fact that she's a director for hire, if there was any identity politics in there, she did the right thing by not really injecting it handed like the others. And I'm like, I'm going to give her a point for that, whether was saved in the edit as a result of it, or it wasn't there in the first place and she was just trying to tell an interesting story. That's not fair. But unfortunately, she doesn't have a stamp on this film, and that's the biggest negative impact to Marvel that they've had over the last, I would say, 8 years of their entire tenure, is that they don't have directors that can really put a stamp on to these movies to still fit within the brand of Marvel. These are not sequels of the characters; these are entries into a Marvel franchise.
James Gunn was probably the last one to have an actual voice, it feels like.
He
But I
probably
brought
was.
up the adolescent thing for a reason, because speaking of writers and knowing adolescents, Stephen King chimed in on this shit
Oh yeah.
for some dumb fucking reason, and then he got fucking, and then he got played because the bitch is like, well, I don't even watch this shit, you know, Like, so then why are you even throwing your 2 cents in? And I'm like, well, I guess the check must have cleared, and that's how low they've sunk at Disney. They can afford Stephen King and a few other people like Grace Randolph, I guess, and that's about it.
Wild Turkey is all you need for Stephen King. Just one
Exactly.
bottle
He's
Wild
cheap.
Turkey. Yeah.
He's a cheap bastard. Motherfucker, he's got a whole list of books you can get the rights to for $1.
I think Gary's response was best because
That's the one I responded to. Yeah. I said, well,
oh God,
Stephen King knows a thing or
Gary's
two
was the
about
best.
adolescence or something like that is what my response was.
Seriously, if it could have been any more perfect to Stephen King, the fact that he say, "Hey, I have no involvement." No, but I'm mentioning this. He's like, bro, you gloat about a president who's not been in office for almost 3 years and you don't let it go. I was like, dude.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, my knock
true.
on him was about the whole it scene and some of his other questionable shit in his books. But anyway, no, I just thought, like, of everybody in the world, why is Stephen King getting involved in this shit? Like,
He always does. He likes to say stupid shit on Twitter.
He needs.
I honestly think
morons.
there's a push, and the reason is because there's a few people who are actually buying into this whole idea. This goes back to the Forbes article that this movie failed, and they're trying to use the fucking same old damn playbook as always.
Yeah.
But of course, Andre did a great video last night, and I'm sure several other YouTubers have, about how basically, you know, this is reflective of what happened during Charlie's Angels and Rambo Last Blood. Only we don't have a Rambo right now to kind of compare it to. What we do have is a Friday Night at Freddy's, right? And every kid is going to see Friday Night at Freddy's. What they're not going to see is this. The men are 65% of the audience last weekend. So they can't blame us any fucking more. They can keep trying to blame us and say it's some adolescent incel bullshit. But guess what? It failed. And we're not gloating on the failing of it. We're gloating on the fact that we might be reaching an end of this bullshit. That's what we're gloating on. Like, he doesn't even understand that.
I'm gloating on both. You know why? This is karma, as I personally wrote to Steven. This is karma for the especially Brie Larson, Nia DaCosta, Kelly Sue DeConnick. This is karma for all their antagonism that they did towards the fans over the years. They brought this on themselves. It didn't need to come to this point. It really did not. If I could have it a different way, it would be nice where we could be in a world where you could root for a character. But instead, we're in this world where they want to force a character who is not a hero, but they want to make us think that she's a hero, and she has the morality of a villain, and they have tried to go up and down, working overtime to force this character to force us to accept it. And just the more they try, it just doesn't work. And even to a lesser extent, Miss Marvel too. They threw in their video game. The video game tanked. And both characters, they've done renumberings with the volumes. And even though Kamala's first volume did okay, every other volume since then has tanked. And all of Carol Danvers' volumes have absolutely tanked. You gotta come to the admittance that this isn't going to happen. If the people want to like this by now, they would have responded. You have signaled to these people left and right, up and down for a decade. And at best, you'll see those people go in and maybe get issue 1, maybe. And what happens when they do? They'll go and pick up issue 1 just to say, hey, look at me, I support it. Post a photo on Instagram. But they come back for issue 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. They ain't doing that. And funny, the few people who actually are doing that are the men who are already fans anyway, who are buying Marvel books just to keep up with Marvel books in general. They aren't getting their new base. If they were going to do it, they would have done it by now. It's been a decade. And you're going to tell me there's still a chance? Hamdigger, I'm talking about Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel's failures of bringing them to being big characters that they have failed to bring to the mainstream that they're hoping for out of like Spider-Man or the X-Men. It's clear that they want these two characters to be the big thing, but they're not. And it also doesn't help that they're being a bunch of bitter bitches because they don't have their premier female character the way DC does with Wonder Woman.
Well, speaking of bitter bitches, I can't believe that more women aren't going after other women over this shit. Like, at this point, that's where we should be at. And that's what pisses me off more than anything. I mean, like, 6 went to see it. You know? I mean,
I think Lorena
other women are not going to see it. I mean,
Lorena Creel did see it.
That's the thing. Stephen King, somebody who's bitching at us, for bitching about it. Didn't even go see it himself. Probably could have got a free screening even.
Probably could.
Is this the motherfucker that said The Flash was the best movie this last year? Remember?
He didn't
Well, at
watch
the
it.
start of the year, yeah.
Oh,
He
dude.
didn't even watch
Listen, everybody in the entertainment industry lied about the Flash. They had to.
it. Yeah,
That's what I mean. Like, you think I trust a fucking word that comes out of Stephen King's mouth? No. Like I said, Stephen King is such an asshole that he got killed, and God's like, no, send that fucker back. We don't want him here. Then he went to hell, and Devil's like, are you fucking serious? Get him out of here. And then that's why he won't die. Like, people have tried killing him several times. He just won't die.
Really?
He's been hit by a car. He's yeah. Didn't he have a heart attack once or something like that too? I don't remember.
Probably.
But like, no, he's just one of these guys that, like, I remember he got hit by this car and he had to basically recover from practical death. And it's like, dude, like, it's like him and Gary Busey. Nobody wants. Like, no, send that fucker back. God, I think I could teach you a thing or two. No, Gary, get the fuck out. The Devil took one look at Gary Busey and was like, oh, hell no.
No, I need you back down there. I need you back down there, Gary.
I got movies to make.
Yeah. I'm over to make.
Boy.
No.
I just wanted to dump on Captain Marvel for just a little bit. And this is
Oh, it
one
never
time,
gets
Mikey,
old.
I don't know. If it wasn't for the fact that Stephen King has a lot more stories than, at least original stories, than Zack Snyder has, period.
Wow.
Zack Snyder's never done anything good. King has written a lot of books that people do like. So
Until the day we find out that he actually, like, bought all those stories back in the day, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say
maybe
Stephen
Richard
King
Bachman. It really
Stephen
wasn't real.
King at least had a moment of relevance. Zack Snyder has to have one.
Maybe Richard Bachman was real, and that was the guy, and he just took it.
You never know, Clobby. That could be. I've thought about that before. I'd be like, what if we find out, like, after his death that, like, half of his stuff, especially the good stuff, was all written by ghostwriters?
Probably was.
Motherfucker wrote like 12 books in 10 days. I mean, like,
Yeah, it's always a bit
it's not all
suspect.
cocaine can't do that. I mean, like,
And not
cocaine
just,
can
not
do a
just
lot.
the number of books, but like 1,000-page books.
That's what I mean.
Big
Yeah.
ass books. I mean,
Dude wrote
ridiculous.
like equivalent of like 12 Bibles. Anyway, we got Paulie popping in here. How you doing, Paulie?
Hey.
What's
What's
up,
You're on the
on?
wrong mic, I think, though. But yeah, you're here.
Oh yeah, let me.
Yeah, check your mic. While you're
Check
doing
the
that, we got
settings.
to thank Mikey for the super chat here, and we'll keep running along. Warrior Justice says, you call him Mexican who lost his car, Carlos. Ooh.
Nice.
Wow.
That was a good one for you, Paulie. Warrior Justice says, you call him Mexican who lost his car, Carlos.
Did you put an S on another S?
That was really good.
Carlos.
He lost his car, he's
Carlos.
Carlos.
Oh boy.
Warrior.
I have another bad.
Sure.
Okay, what do you call the one-legged? Okay, all right, what did the lowrider say? What did the lowrider say to the one-legged Asian hitchhiker? What did the lowrider who drove up and said to the one-legged Asian hitchhiker?
You're gonna have to tell me this one. I have
Something
no
about
idea.
hopping in.
I don't understand it.
Who said hopping in? You're
I
on
did.
something.
Uh,
Wow.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here's what the lowrider said to the one-legged Asian hitchhiker. Hop on, esa.
Wow.
I like that.
That was good.
all right.
That was real
all right.
good.
That's
Warrior
really good.
Justice says toasts are like parents. If they're black, there's nothing to eat. Oh, balls. Hey, Bat Time, Clobber Lane, CC, Beautiful Six, Dr. Scripture, and Nicolas Cage.
Age, yeah.
Welcome. And then we got Action Com, who says Nick Weiser is Shawshank Redemption a love story.
It's a drama.
It's
haven't seen it in a
a
long
romance.
time.
it's a
drama.
platonic
good
love
drama.
story,
Yeah,
brotherly
go
love.
with the love part.
I guess you
Romance.
could say, yeah,
It's not
that's a. But
sexual.
first and foremost, it's a drama story first. So
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know.
But I
That guy
get what
sure
you're
did like
saying.
Andy.
Well, that's not love though. That's lust. There's something
Maybe
else.
if he made it now, you know, if he made it now.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No.
Oh
Red and
God,
Andy.
if it came on now, yeah, it would be
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
love would be the primary focus.
it
Stephen
is
King
Stephen
wrote The
King,
Shawshank
so-
Redemption. Yeah.
It'd be
Right.
Brokeback Redemption.
It was-
Oh.
No, I look at it like
Uh.
this: if if Dick Donner thought Lethal Weapon is a brotherly love story or a love story between these two guys who just have to look out for each other, Shawshank Redemption qualifies in that regard as well.
Oh yeah,
Because-
totally.
And it's cool because you don't get, it's not a bromance. It's really just friendship where it's like we're now family because of this situation and these trials that we've gone through together.
Family.
Mm-hmm.
What? And it's it's a relationships over time, you know, because they
Mhm.
grow old together in prison.
Yeah.
I
it's
want
pretty
to
heavy.
grow old with you. Elusive says Gary's The Marvels video is at 1.2 million views in 2 days. Effing glorious. Well, congratulations, Gary. Holy shit.
Nice.
Yeah.
More people
That's a
want
mortgage
to
payment.
see that
No
than will end up seeing the Marvels.
Well,
No
I'm
shit.
seeing I'm seeing a lot of people who are doing those Marvel reviews. Like they're getting huge views. I was just watching Vex Electronica's channel, and she's got a few thousand subs, whatever it is, and she did her great review. She's really good. I'm really digging her stuff. Great edit, great writing. It's like 50,000 views. You know,
Nice.
on I don't think
Nice.
I think she's got like what 4,000 or 6,000 subs. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who's that? Who is that?
Vex is it Vex Electronica or Vex Electronica?
Never heard of them.
Never heard.
Her.
Her.
She's
Oh,
a-
there you go.
Well, I said so there you go.
Yeah.
Tripping Orc says to get private screening of the Marvels, you just need to buy a ticket at your local cinema. That's true.
Yeah.
That was true where I went.
Bro, we had too many people at our screening, so we just heard a lot of groans.
What, like
A
five
lot of-
people? 5 people groaning?
We had
No.
67.
Like it's always sold out like at those at the theaters that we go to, so
Or
it's
at
not
the
like
Chinese
indicative
theater or
of.
something?
It's like the ones where everyone goes to. That's not too
Okay.
crazy to get to, but
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah,
I was
it's-
looking up the big theaters in the Chicago area, like the big go-to in Chicago, and
Mhm.
they didn't even on Friday night at like 6-7 o'clock. They didn't even hit 15% of sales, and that should kind of be a target market because Chicago's a say with, I guess you could say, people who are socially, you would think would be into that, and they didn't turn up. But that era definitely did turn up for movies like Barbie per se. Yeah, they didn't turn up for the Marvels. And then I looked at the suburb markets. I guess towns like mine, small towns like mine. There's many showings that didn't have a single ticket sold, not a single one.
Yeah, I've been hearing of people saying that their theaters like shortening the amount of screenings and moving them out of the IMAXs and such. And I even pointed out that Madison, Wisconsin, the capital of Wisconsin, didn't even get that movie in their IMAX. They were showing other shit this last weekend. So.
Wow. Yeah, ours is not indicative of the country.
No.
Or even you go out of the LA city limits. Then you're like, that's why Alan Ning had his
Right.
private screening.
Did you see what Kelly Sue DeConnick was trying to attack Ellen? Oh, I'll have to
Yes.
send you that, Paul.
I saw
Oh,
no.
you did
I
see it. Okay, you
I
did see
saw
it.
it after Alan told me what happened. I was like,
Oh, he told.
"Whoa,
Okay.
bro." They were going at each other, but he's just like so smart and kind of
Alan's
like,
awesome.
Yeah. it's like, yes.
Well, since before we get into this next story, Paulie, you've got this going on right now. Your
Yes.
Indiegogo project. It's already done. Book's already done, as you see here.
a book.
Can't believe you just had it upside down.
Uh,
And you're proofreading it right now.
tired.
That's my book. So
So,
there you go,
yeah.
kids. It's already written. Go ahead and sell it.
Yeah, so here are my 2 proofs. So these will be worth something because this is not going to be what's going out there. But it's great to get these proofs because you get to work on everything from maybe some of the paragraphs weren't formatted great. Maybe there's things I want to change, and there was some things I wanted to change. But listen, I can guarantee you that They Call Me Charleston is a way better story than the Marvels. Hands down. There's actual cohesive storytelling as I introduce you guys to a brand new universe, fantasy, historical figures, a little bit of sci-fi through the eyes of this great new character I created. His name's Charleston. He's just he's deep, he's funny, you're just gonna really like his take on things. And Tom, and everyone on the panel, it was just time for me to get this out, because Clobbering knows I've had this for a couple of years.
Yeah. Been working on it for a long time, bud.
Yeah, well, and then I just sat on it because of my anxiety and insecurity, and but I'm like, okay, so we pulled the trigger, and it's been this is one of
there
many.
now. That's the thing, right? You're real close to your
okay,
goal,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So we've launched an Indiegogo campaign. There's 2 days left of the 3,500 that I'm trying to raise. I'm not even 100. I'm less than $150 away, guys. So there's different levels: 10, 25, 35. You're gonna get a lot of love and attention. You're gonna also say that you got this book over my shoulder there, on virtual bookshelves for print on demand and ebook on demand set up, because all that stuff costs money. So Tom, who else? Tom on this panel has backed the book. I don't mean to point anyone out. A lot of great people have backed this book. Chato, Mexican Iron Man, and the community's been wonderful. Loki, and Doomcock, and of course Midnight's Edge. So I don't think the last 2 weeks I've come on Midnight's Edge after dark, but I just wanted to let y'all know about it, and there's only a couple days left. So
yeah,
Paulie, is this going to go on demand, or are you just going to let it be as is at the 3,500?
At the 3,500, that will end, but then there's a flexi in demand, right? Like you said.
Are you planning to do that? You're planning to go on demand with it? Or
little bit. I don't know if I need to.
You don't need to, but yeah, it would help you make more money for this book, is all.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do. I have opted into that option because I'm not sure on all the shipping costs. Because once I get all the books, I'm gonna sign them. I'm gonna all that good personal touch, and then get them out to you guys. So I've budgeted, but you just never know. And especially during Christmas, I don't know what my goal is, to get these books to you guys, or posters and MP3s. We do have an audio recording of me and Romy reading this. We're gonna get this out to you by Christmas.
Wow. I'm just glad you went out there and you actually did this. It's nice to see you once again. You're another player who joined the solution and made something from the ground up, and you're getting this going, and it's gonna come out and see the light of day. That I respect
tell you guys
the hell out of, and I hope obviously should people like it, maybe more will come for you, whether it's a series or maybe each their own individual story. Regardless, it's just awesome to see you being on the other side of this, doing this. So
tell you guys what, if you can double his goal in the next 48 hours, I will literally do an audio version as Antonio Banderas.
Oh,
you got to double it though. That means we got to get double. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, I don't need Antonio suing me for nothing.
No, we can. I
did not do this voice for his book.
Yes. They call me Charleston.
They call me Charleston by Paulie the Latino Slant.
Yes. Ooh. Go on.
I don't know the rest of the book. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Paulie.
Yeah, the book. But no, this is going to be, this is one of 12 different stories. So this is there's a lot of stories to tell.
So
and
this
it's
is like
about
going to be a series of books, like young adult books, or what's the
no, I
level on
mean,
it?
young adults can check it out, but it's
So
pretty
it's an
heavy.
adult series too. Okay.
Yeah, and it's this first one's 32 pages. So,
That's too
yeah.
many pages, man.
Oh man, but there's pictures in them.
Oh, I like pictures. Is there karate in
Who
it?
drew the pictures?
James Esparza did the cover, the layout, and the work of the art of the characters. We have the characters in here.
Oh,
Did I
you've
really
got a
sound
little
like Gomez?
glossary for
Wow.
the universe too.
Oh, we
That's
just got
another good way to get them
Yes.
invested.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point because I worked with an editor, and script can tell you, like, she had told me, it's like, maybe you should make chapter 5, chapter 1, where you actually explain your universe, and then take
Yeah.
everything out as far as like who's what, and create your glossary, because it is like a Mesoamerican Lord of the Rings as far as the world that I created.
Well,
So
you're
it's a
not
lot.
building up expectations there or nothing, man.
Nah, man,
The read you
that's
did
my
on Culture
inspiration.
Casino's channel.
I know. I'm just picking on you.
And listen,
No,
Tom, we just
you
got
did
a
a fantastic
contribution.
read.
What's that, buddy?
I said the read you did on Culture Casino's channel on Friday was fantastic.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I hope you go with that and do the audio because you're really good at it.
Well, me and Romy are going to do the audio, and Admiral, thank you so much, CC. Grand Admiral Adam just got a copy. So we just got.
There we go.
Thank you so much.
We're getting there, kids. We're at 96% of the goal. Keep it
Dude.
going. We'll check in at the end of the show here, but we've got some other news to cover here. But thank you, Paulie.
Thank
and
you so
hopefully
much,
reach your
guys.
goal here. And I don't know if you know
96.
anything about this. Did you hear anything about this Coyote movie, Coyote versus Acme?
We talked about it yesterday on my live show, but not this.
So
It's not
so
the
they're shopping it
congressman.
around now. But in the wake of that, this congressman slams Warner Brothers for canceling Coyote. Now, is this the same congressman that went after him for Batgirl? Was that a different? That was a different congressman.
Who is
this
this?
is
Castro has
no.
Castro's like, he's a Wocoso, but he's also the guy who, like, got some cool Latino films in the past, like to be part of the the National Film Society type, whatever that Congress thing, that
Library of Congress.
Thank you.
Yeah. Library of Congress.
So but yeah, he's he's not much of a leader, but what is he complaining about now?
He doesn't know much about the tax system in the United States. I'll say that.
I was going to say, yeah, because he's from Texas. It says
No wonder he works for Congress.
It's predatory and anti-competitive as far as the guidelines for the tax write-off plan, and thinks the studio violated them. So let's read this here. Congressman is calling for a federal investigation of Warner Brothers for its handling of the Coyote versus Acme movie. Texas Representative Joaquin or Joaquin. I know I'm speaking.
Joaquin Castro.
Castro.
Joaquin, walk out.
Took to Director X, just regular X, to blast the studio for its original plan to shelve the movie for a tax break. Why didn't Director X sue Elon Musk? That's a good idea. The WBT.
She could go so many places with that.
I don't know if anybody knows. Me and Director X got into it that one night.
Hold on, dude. We just got a donation of $160.
Nice.
Wow.
And I can't say the name, guys, because
no problem.
But
thank you to whoever you are.
It was Antonio Banderas.
It was Antonio. He's like, I want to do the audio version.
Okay, all right. So, guys, I think we just hit our goal.
Great.
Oh, sweet. Keep going, guys. You can double it. I'll do an audio.
We did it.
Antonio.
Oh my God.
Awesome. Congratulations, Paul. Actually, I think I got this up here to where you can actually capture the moment on camera here, actually. Let's hold this off for a second here. Because I actually haven't refreshed yet. So here we go. I can actually do it on screen. Boom. So you have the moment. There you go. You hit your goal. Keep it coming, guys. The more, the merrier.
Thank you, Tom.
Don't stop now.
And with 2 days left. Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right. So with that, let's get back to this Coyote story. And congratulations, Paulie.
Dude, thank you.
No problem, man. So the Warner Brothers discovery tactic of scrapping a fully made films for tax breaks is predatory and anti-competitive, the Antonio Democrat wrote, as the Justice Department and FTC revise their antitrust guidelines, they should review this conduct, as someone remarked. It's burning down a building for the insurance money.
No, it's not.
Not quite.
That's a really
Warner
terrible
Brothers has
analogy.
Warner Brothers has since reversed the decision, as we pointed out, amid industry backlash, and decided to try and shop the film to other studios and streamers. Now, some people are actually alluding that this was part of the plan all along, that this was just to generate some interest in it so they could get some bidders on it. It sounds like Amazon's up front right now. It would make sense because they took that crappy, god-awful Batman movie that, remember, guys, they were going to scrap that too.
Cartoon one? Yeah.
That animated Christmas one that they dropped the trailer for, which we could possibly, well, I don't know. It's Amazon,
yeah.
That was a terrible trailer.
I know. And you can see why they were like, nope, we're not releasing this. But somebody whined enough. Wasn't it was that the J.J. Abrams one, or is that a different one? I think
it's a different one. But
It's different.
that movie was written and voiced like 2.5 years ago.
You talking about that the Merry Little
Christmas.
Batman?
Yes, the Merry Little Batman one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it looked god awful. I got about 10 seconds into the trailer and I'm like, nope. Like, I could not.
Yeah.
Like, Bat Tom is the only thing that I think could save this thing. And he would just call everybody a bunch of fucking pussies and punch them all. And that'd be the end of it. But anyway, Warner has since reversed its decision, but the studio previously went through with shelving movies like Batgirl and Scoob, Holiday Haunt for tax write-offs last year. Castro has been vocal on antitrust issues in media entertainment. In April, he called on the competition enforcers to reassess Discovery's merger with AT&T, Warner Media. This followed 30-member Congress warning that the resulting competition vacuum would harm workers and consumers as well as reduce diverse programming, which became a common criticism after the company canned its $90 million HBO Max film Batgirl. Well, technically it was meant for theaters after that, but yeah. First DC movie led by a Latina for the tax write-off. That had to be the point, right? In a letter to the Justice Department, Castro previously wrote that the deal enabled Warner Brothers Discovery to adopt potentially anti-competitive practices, including product cancellations, the damage to content creators whose projects are canceled in deep development and post-production cannot be overstated, stated the April 7th letter. Such cancellations stain the projects, making them less appealing. So yeah, I think this was the same guy who was bitching about Batgirl, at least one of them, because this is what it sounds like this is from is back then. Making them less appealing and marketable to other buyers. Consumers will likely never be able to watch shows purchased then canceled by. Well, no, that's how it works, dumb fuck. Like, oh my god.
Disney did it with Willow. So technically, I mean, Willow is technically untouched. If you think about it, there's only the movie. The series does not exist.
And that actually got released. That's the big difference there. That actually got out in the public, right? Yep. Like, these Warner Brothers did everything they could to make, and Batgirl still has not leaked.
I think the double-edged sword is that it's not necessarily just bad things that are going to get canned. And I don't know if you saw Critical Drinker's video today, but he had some things.
I haven't got a chance to check it out yet, but yeah, which is funny because he just dropped all this. So was there anything really revolutionary in there? Because I didn't get a chance to check it out.
Yeah, there was some stuff. The movie was supposed to star Michael Keaton, Brendan Fraser, and Jake.
Yeah, we knew that.
Which is okay. That's normal.
That's great. I'm great with that in function. But it sounds like it might not have been a bad movie, so much as it was like they had a good idea. And they had a script that they knew needed work, and they went to the studio with it and said, hey, we know what we want to do to make this better. We want to make a cheap, gritty, contained film that doesn't have no big budget sets, just like a small story in the city. Something we've all been kind of asking for, something like a more grounded superhero film. And the test audiences were 61%, which is not that bad, not great.
Actually, that's unreleasable still.
That was before. I'm just saying what the video said, right? Before the script rewrites, which they were denied. I think I would have liked this better than the Marvels.
Well, I mean,
Well,
didn't it
that's-
tax
Barnes
the
better
again,
than
same
Marvel
as
low
test
bar.
screening, but yeah.
It's a very low
Tom-
bar, but I mean, but certainly just based on the information presented in that video that dropped today,
Mhm.
it sounded like the movie was not necessarily so bad as we could have thought. And I'm
Well, I mean,
getting a similar vibe from Acme with Roadrunner. It's like-
Well, you also got to keep in mind, CC, and this is where I think scripts coming in through is a lot of the critical drinkers information is coming directly from the directors.
correct.
You got to remember he interviewed them, and I think he
They have a
knows a few other
relationship,
people.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
But you were
the
about
other
to say
part, too,
something.
is
Go ahead. Sorry.
the threshold for quality at Warner Brothers is not the same for quality at Disney. If Warner Brothers scored something at 63% of their test audiences, that is unreleasable, and it's almost not worth. And given the context of how this movie was presented and how it was going to be a direct-to-streaming thing, they looked at it as like it would be in our best interests financially to just cut this, cut it out, write it off, than even try to throw good money after bad at this point.
Yeah, keep in mind these are the same people who released Space Jam 2.
Yeah, like they saw something that they're like, this is not going to help us in the brand. The other part you also have to think about is that the Marvels before reshoots scored at 30, and then after reshoots scored at 28. So it was half the quality from a test audience perspective than Batgirl, and it was still pretty bad. I think
Yeah,
it's
that's a low
actually in the
bar.
best interest of Warner Brothers to have said, you know what, we tried, we were lucky it's a low budget. We know the actors really loved the script, or at least Brendan Fraser has gone on multiple interviews saying that he thought the movie was great and it should have been released. But he's an actor; he wants to, of course, promote his work and the work of the people that he worked with, and there's no problem with that. But the powers that be saw this film and they said, you know what, it would humiliate us if we released it, so we're just going to write it off. And here's the difference between Coyote versus Acme. Coyote versus Acme apparently scored in the high 80s with test
Yeah, it
audience.
scored very high.
That's way different than Batgirl.
Well,
versus
that
heard
was my question. I mean, like, we have to be careful. We don't. Like, is it possible we get into a situation where really, really good movies can be canned? Right?
Yeah,
Well,
but I think in this
that's
case,
That's
Yeah.
because Hollywood loves good movies that they think they can make money off of. There's a reason why. So Warner Brothers has a 75 threshold when it comes to, if the test's 75 or above, they will try and push it to 100, but they will definitely consider it releasable. Marvel Studios has 70, so Warner Brothers takes 5 more points to make sure it's a good movie. Than
and I'm gonna remind some people of some things when it comes to this whole situation. It's funny because you brought up Brendan Fraser, because of course he's in Batgirl. But he was in a movie a few years back, and this is one of the movies that ended his career. I know a lot of people bought into his whole business about, the Me Too thing driving him out. It's like, no, Brendan, this is why you don't have a career anymore, because you did shit like this. That's why. And remember, kids, I fucking love the Looney Tunes. I actually like this movie, but this movie bombed. It bombed so fucking bad. My kid and I were the only ones in the theater on opening day to see it. The Looney Tunes is not exactly something that has this grand, huge fan base anymore. So that's probably another reason why Warner Brothers is like, look, we're already 70 million into this movie. It's going to cost us at least that or more to promote it and other things. And if it wasn't completed, that's the thing, is I have still yet to find anybody from the studio who says this movie was actually complete. I've heard, like script, I don't know, unless you've heard something different. I've heard plenty of people say, yeah, principal photography was done and all this other stuff. But I've not yet heard or seen anything to show me any actual visual effects were completed, like the actual animation.
Anything post was done. I think they finished principal photography. I think it was all cut together for picture lock, and it was just, let's composite the animation in there now. And that's
what I mean. Yeah,
a while, and I don't know if that was done. However, Warner Brothers did release that it was screened for people, interested parties who shop, which means they have to be far enough along for them to consider it presentable enough that they could sell it and complete it for release within a reasonable time after the bidding is over.
Drinker's video mentioned that as well, that the test video had no completed effects.
For
the one for Looney Tunes didn't. I know that either. But Batgirl, yeah, they never even, that's the other thing people need to realize. They were never even finished with Batgirl. It was only 80% done, I think, at the time script, if I remember right.
Principal
they still had
photography
more
was
shooting.
completed, yeah.
I thought they still had more
and effects were left on the
Okay,
table.
I knew there was still some stuff that needed to be finished though, because that's the other thing I was hearing was that
the other claim, the claim was they wanted to rewrite the script and polish it before filming, but they were denied, so they filmed it and then attempted to ask for the rewrites to be in reshoots, and they had not.
Yeah, I
completed the
called
effects
BS on
at
that.
time. I'm not saying whether I believe it or not. I'm just saying that's what was reported.
That can be reported all they want. That's not how Warner Brothers operates. If they see something that's like, oh, the directors want to do a rewrite, okay, well, we'll do a rewrite. Usually Warner Brothers, if they wouldn't have the directors do the rewrite, they'd actually hire put it out as assignment for a rewrite because they'd pay a lot less, at least at the time. Now with the current MBA, if the directors were also the writers and they wanted to rewrite, they would get what's called the second step, which means that they're allowed to do that rewrite if they make a convincing argument. If they had a convincing argument, Warner Brothers would have done that before production, because Warner Brothers, even at that time, was like, why would we do rewrites and reshoots after the fact? That costs way more. Let's get it done now before we've rolled any film or built any sets or costumes. That's always been how Warner Brothers has operated, even within the travesty that was the 10 years prior to Zaslav coming in. So I don't believe the reporting that they offered to rewrite the script beforehand and Warner Brothers said no. I think they're just got it backwards. I think they said, we can fix this if you let us rewrite it. And Warner Brothers says, no, if you figured this out beforehand, probably would have, but no, not after. And money's already been spent. They didn't want to spend any more.
So, Paulie, I think you got to take off on us.
I do.
Did you have any final thoughts on this and anything else to say before you head out?
I do have something to say in regards to this. And Mr. Castro, here's the catch-22, right? In regards to, I know him, and in you know, like Johnny Legs and Latinos of that ilk, is that they see the population numbers and they constantly fight Hollywood that, hey, we're 20% of the population and we're only 1%, barely 1% in front of and behind the cameras. It's a valid argument, and in the spirit of it, I believe in. However, Hollywood doesn't owe us a goddamn thing. Latinos will go and see anything. It's proven. We prove it all the time. We just saw the Marvels. 27% of the audience were Latinos, right?
That's a large percentage when you think about it. Yeah,
it's huge.
That's a substantial amount.
But it's in line with what Paulie and I have been reporting on for years too. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah. So I get it, but Hollywood doesn't. I don't want Hollywood to become a government program where it's like you have to have so many. That's just ridiculous. I hate that stuff. I just hate that stuff.
No, you've made that argument, and very well made too, Paulie, because like you said, well, yeah, they can use more people, but it doesn't have to be directed towards us. We'll go see anything. Just make something good, right? Is basically what you've said a million times over. But
well, yeah, don't drag people who are of that area that are not interested in it into your industry, because they're not going to perform properly. But if you find the people that love it, that are of that,
well,
then
you
have that
I think
niche audience
this
that
year,
grow, right?
Well, it's funny because this year, and I'll do an end of the year report coming up soon, but it is a seminal year for Latino film. That's the funny thing. I mean, there are some outstanding movies this year that happen to be Latino, right? So we'll do a report on that, guys. But here's the big difference: they're authentic stories.
Maybe
they're not your Wakandas.
They Call Me Charleston. And that could be the original story. I'm just saying, man. I mean, why not an original story?
Well, and you're also. Oh, go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
No. But it's true. I mean, he's got an idea for a story. Obviously, I don't think it would be too hard for Paulie to come with a screenplay. You probably have to work with a co-writer because that's a different writing format, unless he has screenplay writing that I'm not aware of. But regardless, it's an idea, and if people like it, it should be pitched.
Well, let's get people to really love the stories first, right? Write script, then we can work on the film.
Absolutely. Well, and you were really championing like the Flaming Hot Cheetos story earlier this year, and some other stuff like that.
Radical.
Yeah, that's another one you just recently talked about.
A Million Miles Away, the astronaut film, and then you're seeing,
that's another one. Yeah,
you're seeing different genres that are from comedy to historical to heartfelt dramas. And even superheroes. And listen, it's been a remarkable year. and that can't be you can't deny that. You know, and even Miles Morales. I don't call him Spider-Man. It's Miles Morales. It was a monster hit. You know.
Oh yeah, it was undeniable how big that was.
You know, so but again, talent rises to the top, and what I've always wanted is, great stories to be told authentically, not your hollow piñata garbage, like Wakanda Forever. I mean that, or any of these Marvel.
Well,
ones,
I even felt like, even though you liked it, I felt Blue Beetle was a bit too pandering at points. But then again,
I gotta go.
I know you don't want to get into that debate, but yes, Paulie, I love you. Congratulations on your.
All right, buddy. Congrats, buddy.
On your
guys,
goal that you've
for
now
Paulie's
gotten.
Book, he needs 3 backers way to 100. He's 3 backers away from 100.
At least before the end of the show.
He won't mention it. I will.
I mean, it's what we just did right now is just really incredible. I can't thank Tom and the panel enough, and everyone in the chat, man. Thank you. You guys are going to be part of this, and we're just getting started. So, thank you guys so much. I'm going to be a good boy now, and go ahead to a meeting.
Go congratulate yourself,
Congrats,
man.
buddy.
Take care.
All right, congratulations,
much love,
dude.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.
Good night.
All right, let's get back to this conversation though, because I think Script Doctor brought up a very good point. Like, we don't see him going after Disney for the shit they shit canned, and it was more than just Willow, right? They shit canned a few shows, right?
A number of shows that they released on Disney Plus, they're gone. They're no longer in existence unless you had somehow pirated them at the time.
Yeah, there's a fairly long list of shows.
Yeah, it was a pretty big list. But Willow was the one that most people were making a big stink about for some reason. But I think Turner and Hooch was another one from my memory. Mighty Ducks.
Willow. I think the Mighty Ducks might be on that purge list as well.
I think it was.
It was.
Which is fine by me, because only that first season was worth a shit. It lost my interest after they got rid of Emilio. Like, that was the heart of the show to me. Because it was like, to me, it was the first time we actually saw one of these kind of sequel reboot cool things where it's like, yeah, he probably would have ended up in a place like that. But anyway, kind of reminded me of Cobra Kai, had a very similar vibe to it. But in this case, it sounds like this representative does not have a fucking clue as to how the business works. And I seen Valiant was also getting into it with some Disney reporter about this shit too, which is funny that Disney's getting involved with it, because like I said, they've got enough of their own fucking skeletons in the closet now. Not that this person's directly involved with Disney, but I mean, somebody from a pro-Disney account, sticking up for something like this, I think is what they were getting involved in. But still, at this point, I hope they find a distributor for it. I hope it's good. I liked the idea for the premise when you told me about it, Script Doctor. So I think it also has the pedigree of James Gunn to help it along. That'll probably get it sold pretty quickly. I've been hearing there's been a little bidding war going on for it. It sounded like Amazon was the one up front for it, but we'll have to see. But it was like Amazon, Netflix, and a few others, I think, that were involved.
The sale in question is merely just distribution. So that means someone else is just going to foot the bill to get it out there. It's still a Warner Brothers picture. That's one of the things that makes this Joaquin Castro even more ignorant, because they're not selling the movie outright. They're not selling the rights to the characters or anything of that nature. They're just selling distribution, which means that Warner Brothers is trying to basically Netflix this movie to someone else. Because they know that it helps them. Again, their entire goal right now, they cut off like what, $10 billion in debt out of their 40. So they're now in the early $30 billion of debt leverage compared to what they were last year. And then the year before that, they were like around 50. So this is just one other tactic to kind of eat away at that. And whatever profits come is going to be split through the distribution company and Warner Brothers. So it's a win-win for them to get this out there. Whereas if they self-distributed it, they'd probably make a little bit more money, but it wouldn't be guaranteed money. In this case,
they're taking more of a gamble that way. Yeah.
They're taking a little bit extra. They're taking a little bit less of a gamble by having someone else foot the distribution side of the bill so that they can probably maximize their profits until they get comfortable enough to the point where, if they want to do, like, for instance, they have the following, the other Warner Brother, Looney Tunes cartoon with Porky Pig and Daffy Duck. That one they'll probably self-distribute, but them having another party distribute this one could actually benefit the advertisement for their follow-up film, which might be connected or might not be connected. It doesn't matter at this point. They're Looney Tune characters, and if the first one's successful, Warner Brothers gets all the benefit of the second one when they release that.
And the big difference here is unless there's some like Space Jam 2 tie-in, which I highly doubt, I don't see this being as big of a problem to distribute elsewhere as compared to like Batgirl, right? Like that's the thing. Batgirl literally tied into things that came before and after to where this is its own thing as far as I know. And maybe the tone wasn't exactly what the new animation director wanted to go for, but guess what? It got enough buzz when people heard about it. I didn't know as much about it until we heard about it. And at the end of the day, this is one of those that I see where you're saying script for Warner Brothers, whether it was planned this way or just was a happy accident that them announcing the cancellation of it got some interest for it. It worked out for them in the end. And hey,
maybe it's the Streisand effect in full force. Like maybe they're pulling that. I mean, it's a new marketing strategy, and they need things.
There are people who are saying that could be like this whole thing was a stunt.
I mean, well, they have great metrics for it because when they canceled Batgirl, that was talked about for 6 weeks in the trades. That is free advertisement, and who knows how long this one's going to be advertised for as a result of the interest of, hey, you can't have this, and it looks kind of interesting and neat, and at best, you could say it's probably a soft sequel to all of the old Coyote and Roadrunner skits from the Looney Tunes shorts and serials from back in the day. Because again, the Coyote that went up against Bugs Bunny isn't necessarily the same, nor is the Coyote that goes up against the sheepdog is the same. Those are technically 3 different Coyote characters.
Well, the one's a wolf, actually. They look a lot alike, but one's actually a wolf. But anyway, we got one member chat from Jason Webster who says Warner Brothers has become its own version of Looney Tunes, so follow the hilarious misadventures of Davy Zasloff, Elmer Gunn, and all this zany gang at Warner Brothers. That's sad, but almost true. It almost is more fitting to the previous regime, but they're getting there. They're getting there. But all right, are you ready for a cuteness overload 6? 6 was here, but I think she stepped away. So I don't know who's seen this yet, but we're gonna check this out. It's Sony, so they're usually pretty good at dropping claims if they claim me. But this dropped yesterday. We barely talked a little bit about it on the morning show, but I really wanted to talk a little bit more about it because I grew up a pretty big Garfield fan.
Same. I played the game on Genesis, bro. I beat the game.
I mean, the holiday specials were a mainstay in my childhood. I watched Garfield and Friends religiously.
Such a good show, dude. I used to read the comic strips all the time because when I used to have to stay at because my mom used to work at the hospital in downtown Chicago, and I had to stay at the office. I would just read the Garfield and Dilbert comic strips all day long. Garfield gave me a lot of great memories.
I have all the books at home.
Yeah, I was gonna say my buddy and I, we had this running thing. We were trying to get all the collection of the Garfield books and the Calvin and Hobbes books. Yeah, but
20,
he wound up with them all.
2021, that was prime.
What was that? Sorry.
I'll say book 2021 for me. That's prime. Book 8, book 16, book 6. I can name which books are my favorite. Put it that way.
See, I can remember some of the covers, but after about 19 or 20, that's where they start getting fuzzy for me because that's, just where I got a little older and fell out of worrying about that kind of stuff on a daily basis. But no, I continue to read Garfield, and now the comic isn't nearly as good as it used to be. But well, let's see what this is all about here, because this is a brand new movie, animated fully, no live action business at all. So let's check this out.
You hungry, little guy?
Okay, right off the bat, I have a problem because his mom's not there, but yeah, anyway. Because he was born in the restaurant.
Doesn't look like Garfield to me.
That's baby Garfield.
Just give it. Just keep watching.
Oh. Oh. Hi there, little buddy. hungry, little guy? You want a little more?
And that's how I adopted John.
And that is where the trailer goes off the rails. See, Chris Pratt should be doing the voice of John, not Garfield.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like,
I'm gonna be a contrarian here. Say I don't mind him being the voice of Garfield. My only issue is it sounds just like Chris Pratt, just being Chris Pratt. But I do like this trailer.
so far, I don't hate the trailer. Just the voice is bothering me because it should be
Okay.
I like that they're going animated. I like that they focus on the visual storytelling from the trailer standpoint rather than getting all the dialogue in there. And I like that the trailer uses some classic gags from the comic books. Suggests to me that they're actually like pulling from the source material.
some of it. Like I
Yeah,
said,
that
I've already
first
noticed a
fight.
few things, like his mom not being there and brothers and sisters and all that business. And he's born across the street from the restaurant, not in the restaurant like he's in the original special.
Well, he's living across the street. We don't know if he was born across the street.
That's true. Good point. But anyway,
And that's how I adopted John.
Okay, now have you ever been?
I like that line.
yeah, that's a Garfield line. But
Yeah, it's a very Garfield statement to say.
There's a good one.
Say when?
Never, John. Bury me in cheese. Oh, I apologize in advance. The eating you're about to see will not be pretty. And if you have young children, this would be a good time for them to leave the room.
It's like imposter
Holy.
syndrome. The lines are correct for Garfield, but the voice is wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like Garfield, but that's just me. Maybe it's not just me, but yeah.
I think most people seem to agree with you, and I'd say it's a fair argument.
It's not bad.
I just like, Leslie Target beat me to it. That this show yesterday was released on Monday, and Garfield hates Mondays.
yeah, they made some
Yeah.
jokes about that. But like, that's my thing is like, it's not his voice. It's
I loved it in Garfield and Friends.
they almost should have got Bill Murray back again, whatever it would have cost them. Because he's like the only one I can think of right now that's even remotely close to doing the right kind of like he if anything they got right out of those Garfield movies from 10, 20 years back or whatever it was that was the only thing they mainly got right. I don't know. Anyway,
Hey, Junior, this is Vic, my father. You ever jumped a train? I've never jumped. Here's that spot. Where?
Whoa, Odie, you think he'd see that coming? Let's get it. I deserve to be with somebody as nice as me.
I mean, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that I would have introduced the dad already in the movie like this. This feels more like something for a sequel.
Well, let's
See,
be
now this
fair
stuff
here.
feels like
That
stuff
could-
out of the first movie.
They could always still show that in the movie should they go that route. I mean, we still don't know everything about what's going on, so it could always be introduced in the movie. It could just be withheld.
Well, I'm talking about like just the idea of him meeting his long lost father seems like something would be for a sequel, not the first movie.
Yeah, I'm not totally enthused about that, but I mean, until I see it,
I'll say it. I'm enthused. I
like
fucking
the look of it
enthused.
at least. That's one thing I will say.
John actually looks like John, which is a miracle in 2023. Seriously.
Stephen Wright would have been a good choice
shocked.
too. Damn it! Like that's
Yeah.
the thing.
it looks like they're going to keep Odie as a silent character,
Which is
The
fine.
trailer suggests that, which I would prefer. But I would prefer that they actually stick with almost like the comic strip, like just joke, like.
Well, that was
gag
my
after
issue.
gag, you know?
CC the live action quote unquote Garfield movies is that Garfield was the only one who was CG. It's like no. Either you do every animal live action or you do every animal CG, because it doesn't work. Because you got Odie sitting there next to CGI Garfield and it doesn't look good. Because for one, like right there, look at that. Odie's tongue is half the size of his fucking body. Like you can't, like it just doesn't work that way. That looks like Odie, right? Just having some random dog didn't work for me.
Much prefer this. Yeah.
Yes. And that's the thing. Odie, he's charming because of, the big doofy dog look that he has, right? Like that's kind of the whole point.
I think like visually I'm on board. Just what I can't quite get from the trailer is, how much they're going to keep that kind of charming comedy going, or how much they're going to kind of get convoluted with the Garfield's dad story, and
that's what I'm worried about.
Run off in some direction that kind of derails it,
And they better have Odie's theme in this. That's all I know. That's Odie's theme. 6, what did you think? You like kitties?
Garfield as a kitten is super cute, but I prefer Garfield as a comic strip. I'm not going to watch this. I'm not really
fair
interested
enough.
in it.
I mean, yeah, there's a little bit more aimed towards kids, obviously, too. So, Script Doctor, what do you think? You a Garfield fan growing up?
I'm not the hugest fan, but I enjoyed the cartoons. But I mean, this one here, it didn't sell me because it's like the voice of Garfield is kind of what makes it work, because he's this kind of no nonsense sort of, I don't care, just feed me and leave me alone to sleep type of cat. And I'm like, you don't get that with a high energy Chris Pratt.
No.
I wonder if somebody will, I was just to say, I
Was
wonder
it-
if somebody will, like, I think you brought this up on yesterday's script. I wonder if somebody will turn around and do an AI version with Lorenzo Music's voice over top of it. Because didn't somebody do that similarly with the Mario movie trailer as well?
I don't know about that.
I thought somebody did. But anyway,
That
you were going to
kind
say
of-
something, CC.
Deeper, unimpressed delivery was so perfect, and I'm not getting that from Chris Pratt.
No, because Garfield's monotone. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
He's always in the same tone. That's why Stephen Wright would be perfect, actually. I never even thought of that.
Well, they probably
Stephen
thought
Wright would be brilliant.
they probably thought, well, look at the success that Chris Pratt brought to the Mario movie, and everybody.
I think he was actually cast for this before that, though, 6.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember reporting on this a while back. I was like, Chris Pratt? Okay. I'm like, because I remember joking about, he's going to be Mario and Garfield now. I remember saying that a lot. But you could be right. They knew that, being that he's the only movie star right now. I don't know. Honestly, like somebody like, even like, you're right, Script. He's just too energetic. That's the problem. Even Vin Diesel would be better. Fucking Christ, I hate saying that.
I am Garfield. Over and over.
Yeah.
So,
He just walks around talking like this.
lasagna. Like, that's
I
the only
like
time you hear energy
lasagna.
from Garfield is lasagna.
Or unless he's going to get candy.
Shit.
Yeah. But no, we'll see how it goes. I'm not impressed with the voice. That's it. That's the only thing that's bugging me about it. And it's weird that Sony put this out, because I think somebody brought it up in the chat too. I thought Viacom just bought Garfield not too long ago. Of course, this could have been in production before that sale. Oh no, it's 2019 they acquired him. So what'd they do? Put this into turnaround? And got picked up by Sony or what?
Maybe
They fast tracked it. They're like, hey, this is Chris Pratt. We got to fast track it.
He doesn't
Yeah, 'cause
have
back
that
in-
much power yet.
2019 is when they bought the rights to Garfield. Huh. They're developing a new animated television series. Doesn't say shit about the movie, though.
Will it include
This would have
Orson's
been-
Farm?
I don't know. It's a good question, but this is back in 2019. This is 5 years ago now. Huh. I wonder how it wound up at Sony then. It's a good question. What was the animation company that did it? I didn't catch that. That might be the key.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this particular facet.
Alcon is the other one on there. And Prime Focus must be the animation company. Never heard of Prime Focus before. Huh. Alcon. Who does that? Who owns that one? That's weird. Well, if somebody knows the answer behind that, please send it to me because I'm usually interested in copyright stuff and who owns rights to what and everything like that. So yeah. Anyway, before we lose the whole audience because of my boring ass just sitting there, was there any other news to talk about? I forgot. I swear there was at least one or two other things.
Well, it was that wasn't there that Supergirl thing with James Gunn? If you care.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Thanks for reminding me. So yeah, so let me bring that up, Clobby, while you give your responses, because you had noticed you and Nick had a bit of a conversation before the show about it.
Well, it looks like it's based on that Lord,
Woman of Tomorrow story.
Woman of Tomorrow, and this naturally being Tom King and modern. I'd never really read it before, so just going over it, looking at it, and familiarizing myself with it a little bit. And I'm like, if you're adapting that, whatever, man. It doesn't seem to be too much to do with Supergirl to me.
I'll put it this way, okay? I remember when that story was coming out in the comic shops at the time, because there was still a few DC books I was reading at the time when it came out, and it's so weird and also absolutely not even my opinion, but like objectively speaking, it was not a big seller anywhere. It was not a book that everyone was talking about. And no, as much as I hate to say it, like, giving credit to Tom King, but when Batman was starting out, people were talking about it. Even when he was writing Mr. Miracle, bad as it was, people were talking about it. No one was talking about Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Only very few people were. The only people who were sub to at the shop were the very few remaining people who were holding out hope Tom King would turn around after his trashy Heroes in Crisis story. This is not something that sold well.
Total trash.
And he has a habit especially since Batman number 50, where he writes. He definitely is one of the innovators of writing his female protagonists as absolutely unlikable. He writes them like they write like they are men, and every time there's a male character and it's protagonist, they're always weak, stupid, and they had the female protagonist, whoever's in the story, is always, as a lot of people like to call it, the mommy wife of the story. Yeah, Supergirl is pretty much that, except she's the lead character this time around. Tom King does not write characters. He makes the characters all become him. This is something he's probably one of the worst doers of this self-insert thing, because he makes all the characters like that. He's even said it himself. Don't even take my word for it. I know there's a video that went around about a year ago on CBR where he talked about how he wrote the Heroes of Crisis story. He had it all written out, except then he pitched it to DC and said, which characters are available that I can use? So I'm just saying, like, that's just not my opinion that it's a self-insert. He's saying it himself. He already had the idea, the stories, everything written out. It was, okay, what characters can I add to insert dialogue here, insert at this part here? So it's literally just him putting himself into all these characters. And Supergirl is under Tom King. Oh, boy. Man.
It's not a Supergirl story. I mean, looking at it right now, I skimmed the first few issues and I was reading some of it. They are horrific, of course, but I know that's nothing to do with the movie. But
yeah, the art's good. But that's a problem with Tom King.
The art's horrible. I think the art's terrible. It's horrifically bad.
Tom King,
unbelievably terrible. He didn't draw it. I'm just saying.
Oh, of course not.
It's atrocious art.
Tom King gets artists who could be decent to good, especially guys like Clay Mann, whom I love. And you're like, how do these people get work under Tom King? Makes no damn sense.
I'll put it to you like this: if you just think it's an interesting, eclectic type of a story for a comic, fine. I mean, it's just all about her running around with swords and in these different planets that are like medieval in some ways, and ones with a red sun, and she's bleeding and fighting all the time. It's basically having a Supergirl the Barbarian type thing. If you think that's cool for a comic and you like that art, that's one thing. For a Supergirl movie in the mainstream and the masses, no. And if James Gunn's going to really try to adapt that, then I doubt that he's going to get away with it, but I don't know.
Well, let me read what he said here. He goes, "A hearty public welcome to Anna Nogara, if that's how you say it.
Noguera.
Noguera. To the DC Studios family, Anna is an amazing writer whose screenplay adaptation of Woman of Tomorrow is above and beyond anything I hoped it would be. We're excited to be moving forward with this unique take on Supergirl in this beautiful star-spanning tale." So that's the post that he put out today. Thank you, Six, for getting that link for me. And so basically it is done already as far as writing goes, it sounds like. But now they'll be moving forward into the pre-production stages, I'd imagine, is what this announcement's all about.
I could even see doing an animated film of it, because it's kind of a very, very offbeat type of story. It's just not a traditional superhero story at all. And, again, call me crazy, but if you got a Supergirl story, a character that's, let's face it, not that really that popular.
What's sad is I don't hate that art. But
that's the cover.
Yeah. I assume
that's
so.
not the interior art.
I could imagine.
No.
The covers, I don't think the interior artist did many of the covers.
Not usually.
Maybe she did that one cover there, but I don't know. I mean, like I say, you might like it. I just,
Yeah. Jason Webster says, "Start off a new Supergirl movie theme song. I'm Supergirl in a super world, life in spandex. It's fantastic." Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't go with a more, well, then again, they may still be going with like a fun girl power route with this. You never know.
Oh,
it's hard to say. This would be, this is technically Anna's first feature writing sale deal, because she's an actress. She's Vampire Diaries, I think, or something of that nature.
Oh, wow.
It's not a bad thing for an actor, especially a female actor, to get into writing, because if they want to get into writing or directing or producing, and while they're still young and attractive, that means they're actually committed to this industry, and they're trying to find other avenues as opposed to just aging out and then working conventions or something. So I think the choice for her to get into writing is fine. Whether or not she can deliver, all we have is James Gunn's word on that. So
yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll have to wait and see what they come up with.
His word doesn't have value, especially after he talked up all these movies. And there had been one I saw, shame on me, I'll admit that, was absolute trash, not Flash movie. There's no credibility to him anymore. And I'm saying that as someone who really enjoyed like his Christmas special on Guardians, volumes 1 and 2 even. I don't value his opinion on these things anymore. And I know he actually does know comics. He has mentioned really good runs that he's read. I do know he is a real one in that regard, but as far as these people he's picking, it feels like he's just going for the people who are cheap and unaffordable, and not people who have meritocracy to their name here. And I'm not saying that Anna's going to be a completely bad writer off the bat, but this just feels like she fits the DEI quota more so than the talent. Now, if she ends up
they don't
being
have
talented,
that at
hey,
Warner Brothers.
I'll eat my words. But right now, I'm not buying.
Well, that's fair, because Warner Brothers doesn't have the DEI stuff anymore. The other part too is I would not be surprised if he's plucking out younger talent or people that are green in the industry that he can shape and shepherd into what he needs them to be. I think that's possibly what he's trying to do here in that regard. And I think he's probably doing a little bit of the Marvel model, which is that you get someone cheap, they do what you want. And sorry, someone was texting
Scotty,
me.
answer
it. You get these young talent, you get them to do what you need them to do, but will James do it the Kevin Feige way, which is just write what I tell you, or will he let them bring into a voice and then help them refine it so that it serves the story he's trying to go? Like, that's the big question that we have to wait to see is if it's going to be answered or not. I think Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, it was not a great choice. I think anything from Tom King is really bad form. So I have my doubts there, but we'll have to. Unfortunately, we're stuck in this thing where until we see something really kind of detrimental, there's still potential for success here, because I think the cast they have for Lois Lane and Superman and Jimmy Olsen, that looks solid, visually at least. Now, can they nail it on the story side of things? James Gunn has a successful track record of delivering on good stuff. With regards to his word, he's compromised in the position he's in. He's the co-head of DC Studios. He cannot say a bad thing about any DC movie ever, so long as he is still in that position.
Yeah, creatively, you can't trust his. Oh, go ahead, Six.
She's not just getting into writing. She's been a playwright for many years and had multiple plays that have been made it to the stage. I don't know anything about the tiers of, Broadway, I assume, is the pinnacle of it, but this is not her first. She's been writing for a while.
Well, we'll have to see what they come up with then. Anybody else got anything to say about Tom King or Supergirl or James Gunn?
About DC Universe in general, because I was actually really optimistic initially about the casting of Superman and Lois, and I still think that they have potential to be great as their characters. But however, the rest of the casting since then is what's really worried me. Not because they seem like bad choices. I actually don't think a single bad choice has been picked so far. I wouldn't say all of them are ideal, but it feels like it's just going to be. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a Superman movie. It just feels like it's Superman and Friends, and that's once again where I still question how much of DEI is still there, even if it's more subtle, because I want a Superman movie. And unless these other characters like Metamorpho, Guy Gardner, all have cameos, which, hey, fun and games, I'm good with that. I'm worried this is just going to be Superman and Friends. And I want a Superman movie. But obviously, we still got a ways to go.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that too. Let's get back to Super Chats here. ActionCom has a suggestion for you, Six. If you want cute, see Have I Been Chosen? A short by Beautiful Animals.
I'll check it out. Thank you.
There you go. Jason Webster says it's oldie, but it's an oldie, but a goodie. And also wonders, Jason does, if Garfield likes Prosecco. Am I saying that right with his lasagna? Prosecco. Okay. And then CC says, right. I want to live in a world with airheads. Now, you mean the movie Idiots, or do you mean the candy?
I like the candy.
The movie.
Me too. Oh, the movie's great. Yeah, we need to.
Oh, dude, that's gonna be a Toxic Tuesday one day.
I ain't farting on no snare drum. The Lone Ranger. Yeah, the Lone Rangers. Yeah, you pluralize the Lone Ranger. Got no idea what you're saying right now.
It's a classic.
Best part's when Beavis and Butthead call into. The Lone Rangers suck. yeah, we saw him live. But speaking of Garfield, this was found by, I believe, Corley and Rogue in the chat. Sent this in. Here we go, kids. You ask and we shall receive.
And that's how I adopted John.
Okay, now have you ever been?
Barely heard that.
Yeah. Please, no, now it's so hot.
You hungry, little guy? You want a little more?
What's so different?
And that's how I adopted John.
Okay, now have you ever been with a plate? See this spatula?
No, please, no, now it's so hot. I was really hurting. Ow.
You deserve to be seen with somebody as bright. Say when?
Never, John. Bury me in cheese. Oh, I apologize in advance. The eating you're about to see will not be pretty. And if you have young children, this would be a good time for them to leave the room.
See, he even talks too fast for Lorenzo music. Do you notice that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like it's speeding up Lorenzo just to keep up with him. But it's better. Somebody was about to say something. Was it CC?
No, I just said yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Junior, this is Kiss, my father.
You ever jumped a train?
I've never jumped.
Here's that spot.
Really?
Okay, that was
That's
your-
That works
on,
so
yeah.
much better.
Woo, Odie, you think he'd see that coming?
Let's get it.
Oh man, they fucked up. Man, they
Wait for it.
fucked up big time.
Kelsey Secret.
I don't think there's any talking anyway.
Color me
All right.
intrigued.
Color me intrigued. Nice touch.
Yeah, that I've never jumped line was nailed.
Yes, that was brilliant. Yeah, I think Leslie, it's because it's speeding his voice up too much. I think it's making it sound robotic. Because Lorenzo Music has a much slower timbre to his voice, or not timbre, or what's the word I'm looking for?
Is a lower, slower.
Lower timbre, but he has a much more slower pace. That's the word I was trying to think of. Yeah,
I mean, it has to keep up with the footage, right?
yeah. They should have slowed the footage down a little bit.
Or gone traditional. Never had Garfield's mouth move when he speaks because,
That's true. Yeah.
Well, that's where they fucked up. If you ask, just the voice.
Actually, that's kind of part of the whole dynamic, isn't it? 'Cause,
Yes,
like John
very
doesn't
much.
really hear Garfield.
No, and that's what's hilarious. Have you guys ever seen that website where somebody took out Garfield's speech bubbles, his little thought bubbles? It's basically John who looks like a psychotic idiot because he's just talking to himself all the time.
But that's true.
It's kind of funny. But yeah, I'm sorry, Mikey, I didn't read that. His super chat from earlier said Zack Snyder is greater than
Stephen King.
Stephen King. And I said, that's, we did debate it a little bit, but I didn't actually read it out loud. So I apologize, Mikey. And thank you, Six, for letting me know I did not read it. Then we got Richard Art, who sent in $5 and says, honestly, I've only wanted to see my heroes on screen like they were in print first, then amalgamize them. Is that what he means? I don't know what AML
Yeah,
means. otherwise.
probably. That seems like what he meant to say,
Mhm.
amalgamize them. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Analog?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Maybe.
I don't know.
But no, most people just want to see, and it's not, in most cases, I don't see why it's so difficult. Because, I mean, for the most part, a comic book is basically like a
screenplay.
Like, or not so much a
screen,
screenplay, but like having basically like the
storyboards. I meant to
storyboards.
say. Sorry, that's what I meant
yeah.
to say. To correct.
In a
myself.
way,
I'm
I mean,
sorry.
now
Yeah.
should you follow that always as a general rule? No, not necessarily, because you have a lot broader story sometimes you got to tell. I understand why the earlier parts of Marvel, they kind of shifted things around and changed the idea here and there about certain things, and for better or worse, whether you agree with what they changed, I mean, that's up to you. But I mean, sometimes it just happens when you're adapting stuff, right? Like, I understand that coming from a writing school of thought, but I understand also those who are like, no, why can't they just do it like it is in the comic? It's right there.
I mean, if they did John like he was in the comic with the dentist, or sorry, the
That'd come off
veterinarian.
very creepy now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it.
I
they
think
couldn't do it.
I mean, I think you could definitely debate the reasons on why they made some of the changes back then, but I definitely feel like there's less of a debate to have now. Nowadays, a lot of it's just a springboard for them to push their own careers. It isn't about the love or the passion. At least back then, you had more people involved who did care about this stuff and who were actually into it. Nowadays, that's the red flag, as we learned, a year and a half ago, that they go out of their way to not hire guys like that they find out you're a fan of the source material. They don't want you involved, even though word on the street is they're backtracking with Born Again, which I'll believe if I ever see that. But that seems to be a thing that it should be common sense. And nowadays it's all about egos, and I need to make this about what I want it to be about. At that point, it's just like, why can't you just make your own story and leave our trash, our stuff alone? Instead,
Well-
they care more about their own egos and want to put their trash into our stories because they know if they sell it on their own merits, it will fail. So they need our stories to legitimize their own stances, their own opinions, their worldview, etc., etc.
And yeah, he meant amalgamation. Thank you for the clarification there, Richard.
Woo.
Thank you for catching that, Six. But yeah, no, yeah, it's just one of those things. I've had this debate with several of my friends where they're just like, I just want the X-Men just like they are in the comics. Why can't they just do that? It's like, I understand that. But you have many different
kind of thin in story for it to fill out a feature film.
Well, that not just that. You have different interpretations. You have different eras. You have people who want to tell different stories. I mean, just looking at a story, you may have a situation where somebody goes, well, that's dumb. I want to change that for better or worse. I mean, when you're doing an adaptation, you have the opportunity to maybe fix some problems or flaws that may have been in the original story. But you also have to be able to bring it into its own self too, and not make it such a more self-contained is what I was trying to say. Sorry.
Well, like on the DC side of things, their stories are far more pulpy and a little bit thin and more focused on the problem and a little bit less on the characters. But they do delve into that, and some of the story arcs they have are so small that it's difficult to adapt. I mean, one of the biggest problems recently that Warner Brothers had when they wanted to adapt The Killing Joke is they said there was not enough substance there to actually meet a 90-minute movie. They had to fill it in with that horrible first act prologue.
Which is why they should have just made it a short and put it up in front of Batman versus Superman or something like that.
Yeah, but that's just one of the issues there. And now on the Marvel side of things, they're a bit more character focused and drama than they are action. I mean, that's one of the aspects that made
a little more soap opera.
Yeah, and it works for them. So when you're trying to reconcile that into another medium, especially one that movies are far more dialogue heavy than comic books. Comic books, you get the art, and then the dialogue complements the art, and that's kind of how it works, and it helps.
But you also can get in
the other.
Yeah.
All right. Some of my favorite gags in Garfield revolve around John, right? And I can see in the trailer they're going with this Garfield's dad thing because it's almost like a cop out. At the beginning of the trailer, they're focusing on John and how he meets Garfield, and Garfield kind of saves John, which is the dynamic of the comic. Because John is a little bit pitiful at times, but it's also hilarious how he goes after Liz and women in general. How he is a lonely, broken cartoonist. But that could have made a really touching story if the movie would actually lean into that. And they don't have to make him creepy to do it. They can make it a story about a man and his best friend, Garfield, really. And it seems like they're probably not going to be able to do that. They chose instead to go with Garfield's dad,
That's what has me kind of worried is they're kind of bringing the dad into the focus, which in this day and age, we know where that usually goes with the deadbeat dad scenario. I mean, I'm sure they'll have yeah, I know, but
it's the easy way out. It's the way they're allowed to go, right?
Well, I mean, I guess it would be a dichotomy between Garfield has a happy life with John, and then his father has the life of basically a hobo cat, a stray cat, a street cat. And it's maybe street cat versus domesticated cat, and that might be the conflict there. And I would be shocked if audiences inferred that as deadbeat dad to Garfield dad, if they kept it authentic in that way. That's the other part. If they kept it authentic in that way, where it's like, hey man, yeah, I fathered a domestic cat, and I've always been a street cat. You got to reconcile that stuff, and maybe those two lives don't work in that regard, but maybe they have a relationship where it's like, okay, still. We formed a bond, but this is your home now, and I'm the one that's always on the road. But I'll come visit because John keeps the fridge stocked, that type of thing.
And I think the better story for a first film is probably how they got, not just introing how they got Garfield, which I like, or how John got Garfield, but how he wound up with Odie. If they stick to that actual story.
Oh, the roommate left. Yeah.
Yeah. The roommate just left him, Lyman or whatever his name was. And that to me is a better story for Garfield to have to deal with. Cause for him, life is perfect as long as it's him and John, right? Like that's usually the dichotomy in the comics too, is like, he always thinks it's pathetic when he's trying to get with Liz, cause he knows that's not going to work out. So he's not worried about that. But to him, Odie, he hates him because he's not supposed to be there. That's the thing. It's like, he's competition. He doesn't like him. He's stinky. He bothers him. He follows him around. It's like that to me is a funnier kind of story to tell of like Garfield living his perfect fucking life. And then all of a sudden Lyman shows up on John's couch one day.
Yeah. Did he go mute or disconnect?
I don't know.
I was wondering if it was me.
Hear you.
But it's a great dynamic in the comic, and some of the strips I laughed the hardest at were
my fucking
Garfield torturing Odie.
I had an update today, so it just keeps resetting itself and resetting itself and resetting itself and resetting itself. It's done it like 3 times already. Sorry about that, guys. It's frustrating. But yeah, no, you guys knew where I was kind of going with that. Just like, the idea of him having to deal with Odie, I think was funnier, but he's a nuisance. Exactly. Lyman left Odie. Yeah, he just left him. He didn't even tell him why. I don't think he just left him. But Jason Webster said it's best. I just hope that the new Garfield is not a catastrophe. I agree. And because of my mic, this show has become a catastrophe. But I want to thank everybody for joining us. Nick has already checked out because he's got Toxic Tuesday coming up, so he's got to get ready for that. They're going to be talking about, I believe, Live and Let Die tonight over there. So, and you're going to join them, Clobby, or?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and why don't you start with the plugs?
Oh, well, just thanks for having me. Nothing much to plug. Just it's Doctor Who month on my channel. So tomorrow night I'll have a big another Doctor Who Wednesday night, and then Thursday night the Clubhouse with Raquel. Hopefully Mark D will be there. I don't know if Mark D's going to be able to make it for that one or not, but we'll be there. And then of course, there's Saturday night Star Trek with we're continuing always 9 p.m. Central on my channel for all my shows. And so Saturday night Star Trek, former episodes of Voyager with our Star Trek reviews. And thanks for having me, buddy. I appreciate it. Everyone have a great night.
Always. We love having you. And excuse me, you are correct. I do vaguely remember this now that they did bring Lyman into one of the episodes and explain why he left. I can't remember the reason, but yeah. I think he went and joined the army or something. I can't remember what it was. But 6, anything you got going on besides laundry?
Midnight's Edge in the morning in about 15 hours and change.
Counting down the minutes. Well, thank you for being here, 6. We appreciate all your help, and we love to hear from you. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to find anything, it seems like. So thank you for that. And all the mods in the chat. I'm just trying to remember who was here earlier. Was D-Bud here?
Yeah, D-Bud Martin was modding.
As I say, I thought I saw D-Bud there. Yep, there he is. Thank you so much. I think Big Daddy MRI is here as well. But yes, thank you so much, guys, for all your help. Script Doctor, what you got coming up?
Just working away on my Patreon, but I did drop my the Marvels review yesterday. It's doing pretty well, so go check that out. It's already passed, I think, 5,000 views. So, yeah,
awesome.
Go take a look.
Check it out, guys. CC, what you got going on? Doing the MTV thing?
Yeah, MTV on Thursdays and karaoke on Fridays. And I'd also like to plug Brie. Very good cheese.
Oh, I thought you meant Brie Larson.
Well, maybe that too. As long as she doesn't talk back.
That's your game. Yes, I said Big Daddy MRI. I thought I saw you in there. But this is also true too, because he does the ActionCom does the timestamps. So technically that is true. Counting down the minutes. But thank you so much, guys, for all your help, of course. And thank you guys on the panel for being here. And yes, Sadie, I know it's time to go outside. Yes, I know. You can't wait 2 seconds. No.
Puppy dog.
She's doing the butt dance now. All right, guys, I got to let her out. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to check out Paulie's Indiegogo if you haven't already. Take care of yourself. Yes, Sadie, it's time to go. I know. Thank you and good night.